stumbling and fumbling toward ecstasy in the Great Awakening, and we are going the wrong way if we are doing this one thing. This is a really important video. I over the weekend I noticed a few stories that came my way with friends and family. I want to share them with you. This is a really important information if you want to be happier and live in your joy and see the planet change up a bit. Hey guys, we are remembering our greatness together. Dive in deep today so we can rise high. I've got a few funny stories for you. Funny in the sense that they are stories that people are doing to create change for the sake of who they think they are, but is actually creating more of what they don't want. And so this is kind of an important content today. If you want to live differently and have more joy and see more joy and unity on the planet. So one of the things that happened, one of my family members was telling me a story back east, they live, and that there was a Trump rally and there was, big flags and everything. So she went running out there and she started she started giving the finger to all the Trump rally people and started to say, fuck you, fuck off, all this stuff. And I was listening to the story with my eyes wide open, being like, ah. And then she said, oh no, these people are going to shoot me. I better go back inside. And I said, she's like, you know what? That's just who I am. I'm a protester. That's just who I am. And I kind of had to hold my tongue, like literally, because guys, voicing one there's a lot in this story, but voicing one polarity against another polarity just actually makes the other polarity even stronger. So think of a barbell, right? You just have a bar and you have this big knob and the big weight and this other big weight. As you get feisty and stuff and pitch against this one, they just start swelling, okay? It's the polarity that we want to start decreasing. So if we see a Trump rally or you see a Biden rally, whichever side you're for, if you're for the opposite, grow allowance. Ask yourself, what would it take to have more allowance for this today? So the second thing this story brings up is that sometimes we feel really disempowered, right? And I talk about this a lot, this emotional guidance scale. If you feel disempowered, a lot of times you're going to go to that kind of rage or anger part or blame, because it's a step up in the emotional guidance system, right? It's a step up in vibration. Anger and blame is a higher frequency than disempowerment. So cool. But we stick ourselves when we say, this is just me. This is who I am. This is how I am. And we get stuck there. We get stuck in the vibration of anger and blame. And we don't really get to go to the joy of ourselves, which is a way higher vibration of joy, ecstasy, knowing. So, so this story is such a good example of how if you're out there saying fuck you to someone because you have a different belief, you're creating this polarity that's just swelling it more. So a good thing to do is notice what you're doing, and is this helping you feel more empowered? And then if it is, keep going up the scale, blame. And then what else? I should get the scale out. But basically working toward hope and positivity. And, so guys, when we label ourselves as something, this is just the way I am, this is who I am, we lock ourselves in a vibration and we're not able to really get out of it. So with this family member stating, I'm a protester, like I say fuck you to people that I don't like and that kind of thing. Um, you know, if there's no right or wrong, then it's just like, if it's, is it giving you the sensation that you want? Is it giving you the desire that you're reaching for? So I don't know, because there she said, like, oh, I'm, fuck off, this and that. And then she backed off and said, oh, I'm scared these people are going to shoot me. And she went running back. So she just went back down to disempowerment. So she's going to anger, disempowerment, anger, disempowerment. Oh, I'm going to get shot. That's like, that's cowering like a mouse and going back. So it's like she's kind of stuck in this little realm of like disempowerment and anger. That's a box that you just locked yourself in and threw the key out. So if you're wanting to live past anger and blame and disempowerment, it's a really good idea to grow some allowance for things that maybe you're not aligned with on the planet. Political parties that just don't, aren't your thing. So, okay, so another story is there's a woman in my life that um, showed a picture on Facebook of the fires that are happening here in Colorado. And then she posted on a site where people would see, and she kind of just did the same thing, said, I'm disgusted with humanity. You people are awful. This is what you brought on. We're all like going to burn together. And like, it's just really weird stuff. And again, here's the polarity. Here's the people she doesn't like and doesn't agree with. And here's her anger, right? And here's her disgust, right? So now she's in like disgust and disempowerment. So she's rising up, or maybe she's angry and she's going into disgust. So that's a little frequency jumped. She's completely angry. She's blaming, shaming, and in disgust. So she's going there. Another example of someone taking anger and just blowing up the polarity on the planet. Guys, if you notice yourself doing this, or you notice other people doing this, really hold allowance. If this is something that they can't hear, just hold the vision of allowance for them to have, and hold allowance for them. So I didn't really say much to these people, but I'm holding the possibility of allowance, because what allowance does, it starts to take those two poles and shrink them a little bit. Now we are in a polarized 3D world, and the planet is vibrating. Gaia is vibrating at 5D, and she's really wanting us humans to come along to 5D, which means more unity, less polarity. Now we have to have some polarity, actually have a physical makeup. But when it's swelled out like this, that's the 3D world. And we actually are capable of taking 5D consciousness and bringing it into these bodies. But it's not going to happen by posting or screaming things or posting things that just swell one side over another, and disgust and anger. We have to wake up past those things. So if you notice people on social media or in your family who are really swelling the two polar ends of a subject, I ask you please to not engage. Okay? It's best to step away, literally hold your tongue, and hold them in allowance. And see them riding up the emotional guidance scale to more positive ways of working through things, to their knowing, to their joy, their peace, their contentment. So yeah, those are the two stories. So as we fumble toward ecstasy, wanting joy right, in our lives. So we want joy in our lives, right? We want ecstasy. We want peace. Okay. It's really not available to us if we are swelling the two sides of polarity. And if you are taking a really strong side of something and then lashing out and pointing fingers and, um, being aggressive toward another side, you're just swelling the polarity even more. And you're not going to find peace in that. You're just swelling the emotion, the anger, the shame, blame, rage, frustration. You're just growing that inside yourself, and you're growing that frequency on the planet. So a lot of more awake people are popping and awakening up, but they're getting caught kind of in that lower corridor of the fourth dimension, which is really a yucky place to be. It doesn't feel good. There's not a lot of allowance there. There's a lot of awareness there. So you get aware of all the stuff that's happening, but there's not a lot of allowance. So you just start ripping people a new one everywhere. And it's a phase that hopefully we can wake up to grow out of pretty quickly. So if you are 100% committed to unity consciousness and to light on the planet, it's best to grow allowance and to go up the guidance step. Visit anger, of course, feel your feelings, have the anger, but then know that that's just a stepping stone to the next frequency, until you're in a higher frequency. And so what we practice, we become. So practicing getting mad at people. Okay, so the third story here, this is crazy stuff that I'm witnessing this weekend. There's two fires here in Colorado. No one knows how they started. And they just said, the fire just exploded. Well, I have another friend who, an acquaintance, saw on Facebook. She's very into, the planet and global warming and just really teaching people about how to take care of the planet. Well, she went into a whole rant about this big on Facebook about how mad she is and angry she is because it must have been started by a human because there's been no thunderstorms or lightning. Now, we have no idea how it started, and could have been an accident. It could have been, who knows? But obviously, she's feeling disempowered by all the fires happening on the planet. She's feeling some deep feelings and feeling helpless around, the things that are happening on the planet. So she's raising up into anger to find some power, which is cool, But we got to be aware in our anger, because here she is on Facebook just spewing all this anger about the people that started the fires, which we don't even know who started or how they started, but she thinks it must be, and she's just spewing this anger on Facebook. Again, swelling the two poles of polarity. And I'm not sure she has the awareness to rise above. And a lot of people think having a voice means spewing their anger. And I disagree with that. It is for a moment, perhaps, but you really got to know that, be aware that you got to climb up that. And so what I'm noticing from these three stories is that these three people are finding kind of a righteous way of having their voice. Like, I have a right to voice this. This is who I am. I'm a protester. I'm a light worker. I'm a global citizen caring for the planet. So it's my anger that's going to be the potency. And that, my friends, is a lie. Anger can be a potency. It can also be a distraction. And I feel in all three of these situations, it's distracting, because all three of these people are pretty awake people, and they're dropping into anger, and it's distracting them from their light, and it's distracting them from being the light that's required on the planet for the change that they are arguing for. So guys, holding allowance, and whenever we define ourselves as our voice in a certain way, again, once you define yourself, you put yourself in a box and you throw away the key. Don't define yourself. Okay. I'm angry today. I'm not, and saying I am angry is actually defining yourself. So I'm feeling angry today. I feel like I'm blaming other people for things today. I feel discontent today. I feel frustrated today. Wow, I feeling more positive today. So the bigger thing about all the three stories is that none of it is who we are. We are light. We are that God spark. We are infinite beingness. The emotions come up as a result of kind of a red light showing us. They're indicators. Indicators. You have left the light. You have left the light. Come back to the light. Go into the light, Carol Ann. Poltergeist, right? But go into the light. Go to your light, and you'll notice that the anger's not there. The anger's out here, almost as a warning signal to say, hey, you left the light. And it's our job to feel the anger, transmute it back to the light. Feel the anger, ask, what potency can I be right now with this anger? Is it going to be to transmute? Is it going to be, is the anger really needed as a potency? Hey, rarely is unconscious anger a potency. Rarely is unconscious anger going to bring lightness. So be very conscious about your anger, and that it is letting you know that you have left lightness. And it's letting you know that there are some steps to get there. Be blameful for a little while. Be discontent and frustrated for a little while. Be negative for a little while. Be hope. Then you go up to content and hope and positivity. So the idea is to feel good. We can take all the degrees of feelings out and just say, feel good, feel bad. Okay? When you're feeling bad, it's best to process them and transmute them right here on your own. Don't start giving that shit out to the world. The world has a lot going on, and it doesn't need more negative vibrations into it. If you are 100% committed to the light, be conscious of your feelings, be conscious of your emotions, and learn how to work them up back to your light and your joy and your lightness before you go out spewing profanities at people that you don't agree with. So yeah, if you want to be a protester, that's great. The woman in my family she feels like she's a strong protester. Now, I would guide people as a coach. I would guide people to find their, feel the emotion that's getting them kind of stirred, and then go back, find their light, and then protest from that. Going back into our lightness to go protest. So most likely that wouldn't look like, screaming profanities at the people that you're protesting against. Again, that just swells the polarity. And as we go to 5D, we're trying to shrink the polarity. So that came up today. This came up today to share with you today. All three stories coming into my feeds, coming into my life, and holding my tongue with them, because I don't think they're in the vibration to hear what I'm saying, but it's an important thing to take a look at and to know for ourselves. So, if you're on this video and I'm on this video, we're probably not in an activated state. And we can probably hear this perspective of like, okay, let's just really work with my anger and have consciousness around it. And hopefully these three people will find some consciousness with their feelings and um, find the lightness in themselves again to give that light to the planet. Um, yeah. So that's what I got for you today. Happy day. And any comments you have, for sure, put them in there. Not really into debating this, but it was just kind of an awareness that came to me. So if this speaks to you, by all means, take it and run with it. If this isn't your thing, let's practice allowance. And but if you have a question about what you're going through or how someone treated you or something like that, feel free to put them in the comments. Or if you just really appreciated this video, yeah, make sure you like it and subscribe. We'd love to have you in this high vibe tribe. And thanks so much for watching and being here. And I'll see you tomorrow.